Hello, everybody. It's me, Erik Bohlin. I'm a therapist working with people in addiction recovery, as well as many other things: anxiety, depression, dysfunctional family, codependency, all kinds of things. So let's look at what I've been doing lately. What I've been doing lately is I've been doing workshop on helping people through the steps. This is for people in 12 steps. And we've been doing it on Zoom, and Zoom is great. It's great for many things. I decided to print this up though because I was speaking in person and I wanted to just flip through it very easily, getting through all these steps in a relatively short amount of time. This book's great. It's kind of falling apart, so it's yeah. Ooh. Yikes. Needs to be put back together. I found this useful. Then people ask, well, how did you make that? Well, I'm going to show you a little video. Now I made that here. Hey, everybody. This is Erik. I'm excited about this workshop, taking the steps together. So a few things. People have asked me about this book I made. The story is that I decided to print it out. It's handy. I can just take notes on that. But prior to that, I was just using Zoom, like this. And then prior to that, I was just using this and highlighting certain things. It's kind of fallen apart. So why am I sharing this? Because is it necessary to print this out? No, actually not. If you want to, it's a great idea. I think it's cool, but it costs some money. The short story there is I went to the print shop, like a UPS store or something out here in the West Coast. We have PostNet. And it was going to be about $50. Strangely enough, it didn't work. It printed, but all in black and white. And so it's like, And then I decided to get a printer anyway. So I got this printer, and you can see that the ink is actually, it's kind of what they call an inkwell. You pour this ink in, and I can print out like 6,000 pages. That printer I got for $200. It was like shocking. So that was my solution, and it seems to be working really well. So people locally, it's like, sure, I'll print it. So there you have it. So I found myself saying a lot. So I'm going to make a concerted effort by God's grace to avoid that. It's an unnecessary word. So we do these workshops. I'm not advertising. It's really not about that. I'm sharing because people ask, well, what do you do? We found that I was having a lot of people wanting help. In the early days, we knew that they do group sponsorship, getting through the steps in these beginners meetings. So we decided, well, why not do that? We used to do those. They were a little bit longer than we wanted, and they'd be like over 4 weeks. And some people would drop out. If you don't get all the steps, that wasn't good. Then we did a overnight, Friday night, steps 1, 2, and 3. The next morning, it's Saturday morning, I would show a nice video in the background while people had snacks and coffee and tea to show AA history. Great. It was great. And then at 10 o'clock, I would demonstrate how I did step 4, simply just writing these simple defects out, and how we might have used a list of resentments and fears to get at that. But that's for me what the heart is. It's not a list of resentments and fears, but a list of what the defects are so that we could pray them away. They were paired off. Participants would be paired off in groups of 2, and then sometimes they came together to do this. So it works great if they already had a sponsor that wanted to do this. They take turns each going over their step work there. And that would be about a 3-hour process where we'd embed lunch in there. Come back about 2 o'clock. We would then do step 8 and 9. That was pretty powerful. People are a little bit tired by then, but we discuss through prayer and using our minds in a constructive way, what is the best way to make amends. Then we knew that people wouldn't be doing amends right then and there. We'd take about a half an hour break and then come back and do step 10 and 11. We would go over the pages 86 to 88 in the AA book. I made little cards that were really powerful. I used them before. This is upon awakening, upon retiring. You could attach them, put them in a book. That was handy. Then I made 4th step ones. And I started to make cards for, in my faith tradition, there were prayers that fit 12 steps really nicely. So we'd have that. So it evolved to where Zoom was a little bit more convenient, just different. I started doing that even before the pandemic. But the pandemic really then took this off. We'd take a group of maybe 12 people, 6 pairs of 2 across the country or in person, and they would do their step work together. I found that now what we do is we do usually a Friday night, 1, 2, and 3. Then the next morning we do 4 through 7 or 8. Then we'd skip a day. Most likely that'd be Sunday. Monday we would do 8 and 9, and then Tuesday we do 10 and 11. I then found that sometimes people would need that extra support to keep things going with step 10 and 11. So this time we're adding step 12 at the end a week later. And what it created is a group of people that already kind of knew each other. When sharing the details of their 4th step, they're not sharing as a group. The only thing a group would know is the defects of character. That was all done one-on-one with private breakout groups. And I would say Zoom does a nice job of breakout rooms. Wild. I was mindful of my there. The breakout group could each have their own room. I could drag and drop the assigned people to those groups. If they were in person, which was preferable, so say like 2 people in Ohio or they're in the same room, they would get their own breakout room. I could go in and visit. Any of our co-sponsors could come in and visit. We could broadcast. We could push something. It sounded like the voice of God. Hello, you should be halfway through. People could contact us if they were getting stuck. And then coming back, doing step 7 was really powerful. We would read the section in the AA book about step 6. Are we ready to have these defects removed? And then we pray together the 7th step prayer, which those that don't know it, it's in the AA book. And then people in the middle of that prayer, we'd pause, take all these defects of character and we just list them out. And then we'd ask for the opposing virtues. And it was very powerful. We didn't try to make it powerful or spiritual or emotional, anything. We just did it. Step 10 and 11 are really pretty important. And doing that as a group. And we would use a pamphlet in addition to what's found in the AA book called How to Listen to God. Again, I got this from a gentleman named Wally P. He wrote a book called Back to Basics, Recovery. I've used his stuff for a while. Really good stuff. Videos. Let's see. Sorry. It's videos. Yeah, really good stuff. Look him up online, Back to Basics. And we would read the pamphlet that was used, that was written by John Batterson. back in the 1930s, and we then just pray and ask God to guide us, each of us individually, with our own issues or problems. I'd set the timer for 7 to 8 minutes, and people would then turn off their video screens. In fact, when we do this, we encourage all video screens to be on, because this is not a passive endeavor. I tell people this is like us sponsoring you in your own kitchen. So this is not the time to be doing background anything. But when it came to step 11 for meditation, we'd say, go ahead and turn that off for privacy. And then we come back and share if we wanted to. Very powerful. Really cool. So I just share this as, if you want to do something like this, it's really pretty cool. It's what I've been using for a while. It saves on time. Why is there a value to sponsoring this way? Well, there's a number of reasons. One is it's how they did it in the early days. Both Dr. Bob and Bill both sponsored like 5,000 people each. So we know it was not this long, drawn out process. Two, it's like baking a cake. If you get all the ingredients put together and throw it in the oven, it's going to be a cake. If you spread that out over days, you're not going to end up with a cake. So if things are stalled on step 3 to 4, or a person's writing out their 4th step by themselves, or it's voluminous amounts of writing, and somehow the focus is on the writing, not on the sharing. The focus is on all those defects, and not the defects, but on the resentments and fears, and it's just so daunting. It seems with any addiction, it's embedded in it to have procrastination. With this, there's no procrastination. I have yet to do one of these where I'm not benefited, and people say, this is so different, it's so simple. It seems like what we really need is power to stay sober. So people say, well, this is awfully fast. I would say it's just all matter of perspective. All the early days of people, if they looked at what we're doing today, or what some of us are doing, and I used to do it the slow way, they would go, boy, you're doing this awfully slow. So my focus is on step 10 and 11 every day, not perfectly. I mean, I do it, but I could be better at it. Scanning my day for where there's resentments and carrying the message to others. What are the downsides of group sponsorship? Well, yeah, it takes me a while to, I think people are used to one-on-one attention, and I think it definitely needs to be there. The other thing is that it may be too personal. People think, oh, but we're sharing as a group. No, actually, most of every group experience is listening. And when we go around and we say, hey, do you concede in your innermost being that you're an alcoholic or a sexaholic or a spendaholic or a gambler or whatever? People say yes. That's all they have to say. Where the details would be is in that private sharing with their sharing partner. Maybe another downside is maybe it's too quick, and people then don't. But how is it too quick? It's if people don't follow through on their 8th and 9th step amends. I think that's the weakness. But if people do that, they'll have a spiritual experience. It will open up this channel, this artery, which we've done a video on. What are the benefits? I think lots of benefits. One is it's not one person that they're following. I think there's dangers in just one person being a guru in this. I think it's Bill said addicts have no place in the limelight. So we want to kind of maintain that humble standard. So principles, steps is what's going to carry this. It's what's in this book. I tell people I'm just reading a book. Yes, I'm sharing what God did for me, but that's about it. The idea of sharing this model I got from Wally P. and others. There, you'll see if you read these books. Alcoholics Anonymous comes of age. Should have been more prepared. Language of the Heart. Dr. Bob and the Good Old Timers. you'll see history. In fact, this book, you'll learn things that on page 131, 136, actually, that AA members at the time did not consider meetings necessary to maintain sobriety. They were simply desirable. Morning, devotion, and quiet time, however, were musts. That's AA history. So to blow your mind. So being flexible, trying something new is always, I think, a good thing, being open-minded. So it's there for you if you're curious about that. I'll put some links for you to be able to download things. I'll put the AA book you can find as a PDF version, but I took the liberty to do an AA version where I highlighted the sections in the book that I described in the earlier part of this video. I don't have any, feelings like if people want to use it, great. My feeling is if you want to redo it so that it's your own, that's pretty cool too. I don't consider this mine, but there may be notes that look like Erik, and I want less of Erik, more of the program. It makes it easy for going through stuff. If I'm stumbling over words, it's because I am trying to avoid the habit of saying. So thank you for your patience. See you later.